Good, you?
Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus show. It's the Dawg and Gus show.
Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flicking great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Dawg and Gus show, now on Feel It Radio.
Hey, what's up, Doc?
Not much, Gus? Are you comfortable?
I'm sitting in the trippiest couch I've ever been in the coolest little office at one of the coolest bars in Ottawa.
And where are we?
We're at House of Targ. We're speaking with the legend himself, Yogi.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Right on.
I don't know if you're a legend or not, but I'm pretty sure you are.
I don't know if I'm a legend, but I've been around. Like I'm old enough maybe to be a legend. Yeah.
We're going to give you that status.
All right, thanks.
Sounds like he really appreciates it.
Goes a long way with us.
Thanks for having us on a little Sunday. Or is it Sunday? Monday.
Sunday.
What day is it?
Sunday.
Sunday afternoon. I know you're busy, obviously, with pinball machines are rolling.
Yeah.
So what, you've been in the bar business for a while, so what kind of made you guys decide we're going to make this a perogies pinball awesome rock show place?
Well, I mean, this place has a really long story. I can give you the short version if you like.
We like the long one.
Okay. I have first off, I have three partners: Kevin Berger, Mark McHale, and Blake Jacobs. And basically, I started. I've been a musician pretty much all of my life, and as a musician, I played shows everywhere. All over Canada, the States, some stuff in. Actually, no, I don't think I ever got to Europe, but a lot of just kind of North American touring. And then after a while, I built a rehearsal place for bands in Ottawa, which was at this old place called the Meat Locker, which was on Main Street. And then at the Meat Locker, Mark was, who is one of my partners here now, he was one of my neighbors. I obviously met all the neighbors there, talked to everybody, got to know everybody, just because we were running a rehearsal place. It was very loud. And then I had a friend who gave me an old arcade machine called Targ. And that machine, he needed it out of his house. His wife didn't want it in the house, so he came and dropped it off at the rehearsal place, and we put it just kind of on free play, and people were into it.
All right.
I started off basically with one game in this place, where I was also recording bands. So I was recording bands were jamming there, and then we started having a show once a month, the last Friday of every month, and we would bring bands from Montreal or from Toronto, not from too far away, kind of thing. And it was always $5 for 3 or 4 bands, and it was bring your own booze. And then from that one game, I started collecting more and more games until my personal collection was at about, 25 or 30 games. And they were all in this just kind of junky garage on Main Street where we would have a show once a month. And then those shows got so busy and so popular just in the underground of Ottawa, and just by word of mouth pretty much, that I decided to kind of hook up with a couple of partners. Mark was already helping me a lot with the shows there at that point, so I hooked up with the 2 other guys, and we decided to try to find a space to do it kind of legit and properly. Yeah, so we ended up we found this place. We got the whole community involved in building it, which was really cool because we didn't have a lot of money, obviously, to do this kind of thing. We're all just kind of shitty musicians with crappy jobs. And I've worked in clubs my whole life as well. I was a sound tech at Zaphod's and at Barrymore's and at Babylon, and at Lighting Tech for a little while. And I DJ'd and I would bartend, and so I kind of knew, most of this business. So we kind of got together and just kind of took a run at it. And luckily, with all the support that we had around us, it's been just incredible ever since day one, pretty much.
Nice. So when did you move from Main Street did you move from Main Street to here?
Yeah, directly. That would have been 9 years ago.
Okay.
And we still kept Main Street going for a year or two, just kind of with rehearsals and that sort of thing. But we moved all the shows here, and then slowly we kind of got rid of that too. It was just too much work between the two places. So yeah.
Was Main Street the one is that in Westboro, or is that?
Right downtown, right by the canal. So
Okay.
like a 5-minute drive from here,
Okay.
kind of thing. Yeah.
It's such an interesting story because it's, House of Targ has now become, this real staple in this community, and I think, is that how you envisioned it when you guys got it started, or did it just sort of grow on its own?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to do something very different than everybody else. I mean, and everybody will say that, but we wanted to. Initially, the place was also supposed to have a rehearsal studio in it and a recording studio as well, and we wanted to really have a place where bands could also stay while they were touring. You know what I mean? Like, we wanted to kind of basically find a huge building and do a bit of everything. Especially with the games, and then the food is because I'm half Ukrainian, so kind of wanted to do something different. So we decided to try perogies, which was a huge mistake at first because it was impossible to make them, and they're really, really labor intensive. But now we figured it out after only 9 years.
Oh, it only took 9 years to figure it out. But
Yeah, but it's funny that he says that because I remember I came here and I was like to order pierogies and you were out. You were out of pierogies. I was like, "How are you out of pierogies?" And then it was like you just mentioned, it's super labor intensive. My sister-in-law is Ukrainian and makes the best pierogies I've ever had. And no offense.
No, none taken.
But
Yeah,
they're
everybody's
amazing.
we have a secret recipe. Everybody's got a secret recipe.
Right.
So,
It's true. Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
a very traditional dish for Ukraine,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, we wanted to do something really different, and also like all four of us are musicians and like who have done the touring, who've done the the playing, done the working in bars, and still are working in bars.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we really wanted to get it from that perspective. And you know how you work in a restaurant or something, and you're always saying, if this was my place, I'd do this differently, or I'd do it. And we're like, okay, well, let's just do this and see what happens. you
yeah,
know?
we both know.
Yeah.
'Cause we both work in restaurants.
Yeah, I worked at Lone Star for all my 20s basically, and when it was the only one in Ottawa on Baseline, and I remember like having the freedom at the time to pretty much do. You had to wear certain outfits, of course, but you had the freedom to be as crazy as you wanted to be, which I kind of liked. And then once they started saying, "Well, you can't do that anymore," and you can't do that, I was like, I'm not down with that,
Yeah.
But it is cool that like you said, we always had conversations. I lived with two other guys. I'm still really close friends with them. All of us worked at Lone Star at the same time, and we'd late at night after a few drinks and having smoking a joint or something, and you're like, let's open our own place, man, and we can do this and that, and then and that's how I envision how this place happened. Just so you know, but am I too far off?
No,
of
that's
that?
exactly, just everybody always saying, like, we should do this, and it's incredibly hard to do, so I get why not a lot of people do it, and then also just sticking to it is incredibly hard, because it just takes over your life. You are working every day, every night, like you're always on call, there's always something broken, a problem, it never stops. So
Well, especially
you really have to love
when
it.
you got a place where you've got how many games out there?
Currently, I think we're at about 45 or 50.
Right.
somewhere
So
around
you
there.
have a contract with somebody who comes in to maintain them, or
Well,
you
see,
guys?
this is so we have two operators that we work with. Like initially, it was half the room was my games, and then half the room was basically a friend of mine who had another big collection of games. But he used to be a professional operator, 20 years before that, so like 30 years ago. I asked him if he would be interested in joining kind of the project, and he did, and he had another friend who I met as well. So basically we had three guys initially running it. I didn't have really time afterwards. I sold my games to those guys, and now they maintain the games, they curate the collection, they bring in new games, they sell stuff, they kind of swap and go back and forth. They have some accounts at other places too, but I think this is their main kind of or where their heart is, you know what I mean? Because we all built this thing together, and it wasn't even really allowed when we were doing it. I was trying to get permits to, how many games. Like, you're only allowed to have 3 games in most places, and I kind of said, well, to the permit people, well, what if we want to have 30 or 40 games? And they said, well, there's no law for that. There's no real permit for that. Technically, it's not allowed, but maybe you should just do it and see what happens. Is kind of what they said. Yeah.
I wish that was the way it was with the city all the time.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, I mean, because pinball was illegal for a while too, right? Because of gambling and all that sort of thing, and yeah, so people had to show that it's actually a game of skill. Like there is some luck to it, of course, but it's you know, and you have to kind of be able to prove that you're not running some sort of weird gambling thing with all these, you know, coin-operated machines.
And gambling ring in the back.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a great way to launder money if that's what you wanted to do. But I mean, what we do is all, you know, like
Above board.
Yeah. Like we're pretty careful about everything.
I'm sure it looks like, and there's a young dynamic, so you have to be careful with that too, right? Like,
yeah,
you're responsible owners, so you have to make sure that, you know, because your clientele is different at all times. Like you have some, like
it really is.
there's teenagers, there's even younger playing games right now. It's almost like an arcade style place right now.
Yeah.
And then also, I'm sure you can probably order a drink right now too.
Yeah.
So you have to be very aware of what's going on. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like that's been always part of what I think has made us different, or how we tried to be different. Is we wanted to first off have a couple of different, I guess you could call them revenue streams, but you know, games, food, booze, shows, and we wanted to add the other things too, as far as rehearsal and things like that. We just didn't have the space for it here, and it really requires like a really great team, like a really good staff that to be able to kind of deal with all these different age levels, and because sometimes we'll have, you know, an 80-year-old in here, and or like an older crew of people. And sometimes it's a birthday party for, you know, 8-year-olds, which is why we started doing this family free play on Saturdays and Sundays now. And we started that after the pandemic, and just kind of, okay, like it's $10, you come in, you can have your birthday party, you can get your table. We don't take reservations or do anything like that, so it's kind of a self-serve maneuver, and people love it. Like it's just been like the response to that has been phenomenal, just amazing. I don't know why we never tried it before, but yeah, I'm glad we did, because it's really nice to have a bit of everybody coming around. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. And it also keeps people, you'll be open forever, because people will just bring their kids, and then those kids will, it's perfect.
Yeah,
really, as long as you know, you everything, you know, the gambling ring doesn't get caught, but other than that.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a secret knock on the back door to get in. So
Yeah. I wonder if that was what we heard. No,
this is not
just
big.
Kidding, guys.
This office isn't big enough for a gambling ring.
No, it's cozy. But it's awesome. You know, I love the fact that you kind of stuck with your guns, but you're also not closed-minded in this. Like, you open your mind to, like, wow, why don't we open it up to having some, like, a free play, and like that'll bring some kids in, it'll give us something to do during the day, and it does bring some revenue in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same mentality with our shows too. Like, we do obviously metal shows and punk shows, and you know, some singer-songwriter stuff. Not a lot of that, but we'll also do, you know, drag shows, for instance. So when we do a drag show every Thursday, last Thursday of every month, we do an 80s night, we do a 90s night, we do like some DJ nights here and there. So we really try to kind of mix it up and do a little bit of kind of anything that's interesting and cool, you know what I mean? And where the people, like the performers and the musicians, are nice. Like, that's pretty much, like, if you're nice, you can get a show here, you know what I mean? And if you're a jerk, then like it's just not going to happen, kind of thing. But and it doesn't really matter to me if your music is cool or if your band is like popular. It's more just like, are you doing something interesting? Are you cool? All right, let's see if we can, you know, and see if people will come and see it and check it out.
Yeah, it's awesome. You know? I love this. I love the premise.
Yeah, it's a great premise. Like, it's not like anything else in the city.
Whatsoever.
Hey?
It's not.
No, it's not. There's no pretentiousness at all, which is cool, right? And just to have a band in here. Hey, you were a fun band. Good, come on in.
Well, I think that, you know, with your experience, you'll be able to talk to somebody once and know if they're a douche or not, right? Like, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's actually,
you're also a musician too. So
yeah, exactly. And I've been booking now for, like, when I started off the first couple of years here, it was difficult because I had just been booking, you know, a small garage that holds maybe 75 people. But I worked enough around other promoters that I knew a little bit, and I have had a lot of friends who gave me a lot of advice. And now, yeah, I can get an email, and I can pretty much tell within the first email if these people are serious and if it's kind of worth doing, or, you know, or at least one response. You can tell very quickly if somebody is going to be easy to work with or if they're just super high on themselves. Like if somebody, for instance, in a local band writes me and says, "Hey, we want to come play," and I write them back and say, "Okay, cool, send me some stuff," and then the very first thing they say is, "Oh yeah, cool, how much of a guarantee are you going to offer us?" And I'm like, "Oh really? Like, you guys haven't played any shows in town, you have no name, nobody knows who you are, but you would like a guarantee that's going to go early." You know what I mean? Things like that are
Kick rocks.
Yeah.
It seems it would be like I don't get that. Like it's if you're trying to build your experience on playing different venues, and then you can add that to your resume and then sort of discuss it with people and then build on that as opposed to just simply going for the money right away.
Well, that's the thing, and like
because no musicians are in this for money.
No, and neither
they are, but they aren't.
Yeah, like you have to make a living if you're doing it for a living, but if you're doing it just to start off and to get to kind of like you got to pay your dues. You know what I mean? In a sense, like I'm still paying my dues, and I'm almost 50 we don't make a lot of money. Sorry, we do make money here, but it gets distributed like between so many people that are a part of this. You know what I mean? The bands take some, the door people take some, the staff here take some, all the repairs. Like you can't be in it, I think, for the money unless you get to a certain level as a musician or as a venue owner or whatever, where you have this reputation that. And I don't know of really any venue that has a reputation where you can just go like, oh, if you go there to play, like you're guaranteed that there's going to be people there always. You know? It just doesn't exist. Like people want to go to see or to do something specific if they're going to see a band or if they, even with this free play thing, it's here's people come because they know there's a deal, there's something to do. They don't want to just come hang out in a room for no reason.
Well, it's just like all the bands that we talk to are self-promoting too, right? So. Yeah, man. Hey, we're playing the House of Targ. We're playing the House of Targ in 2 weeks. Come out and see us. Like they're trying to generate as much people as they can to come to their shows. Yeah. It was the same thing like last night at the Brass Monkey. I mean, Buck Cherry's playing, but the other two bands are like, come on out and see us. Like Buck Cherry's playing, but we need you guys to come out. Like Beyond Driven, they're like, I was talking back and forth with the lead singer, Aaron. And she's like, well, come out to the show because we're doing some new stuff, and we just want as many people as we can out to see us play. Yeah. We know that a lot of people are here for Buck Cherry, and they were, but the other two bands were just as good. Like, they were amazing.
Yeah.
Like, Beyond Driven did exactly what they were supposed to do as an opening act, and they pumped up the people that were there. And then Civilian came on, and they were just as good, right? So then Buck Cherry comes on, and it's like, well, this crowd is definitely warmed up for us.
And it's not hard to do too nowadays, right? With social media and with like the digital technology, that even recording wise and all of that, you want to record something with one microphone. You can make your whatever like a demo record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not that hard to. Sorry, not that it's not that hard. If you're motivated, you can get it done for sure. And if you're a decent, good person and you have some social skills, yeah, absolutely. Like it's. So yeah, I don't know. It's a fun game though. I enjoy it.
It's a labor of love.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what I'm getting from it anyway. It's kind of like our deal. I'm literally sitting on the floor right now. Just kidding.
It's kind of funny. We actually need a picture of this because it is kind of funny.
You'll get one after. You get one.
No, I'm going to get one now.
He's going to take a photo.
I'm going to take a picture of photo of you live sitting there, like almost like being eaten by the couch. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. The couch is definitely like if I could find you another couch, would you take it?
It's likely that we would, yes. Although I don't know if this thing can even get out of here at this point. It's kind of been built in.
Yeah, but the dimensions you're gonna have to get. It's gonna have to be a certain size because.
Yeah.
Maybe just some new pillows.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a beauty couch.
Yeah.
It was probably here when they got it. What was here before the House of Targ?
I think it was called the New Bayou.
Okay.
Before we picked it up, but it was sitting empty for about, I think, 8 to 10 years before we got it.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, there would be the occasional kind of rave that people would throw down here. So there was like a little bit of plumbing. There was maybe one toilet out of 10 that worked. There wasn't any heat when we moved in here. There wasn't any air conditioning. There wasn't anything. It was just all kind of ripped apart. And
so you kind of had to come in and freshen it up yourselves?
Yeah, we had to build everything from scratch, pretty much. Yeah.
But that would have been fun too, like because then you like you were saying, you were kind of building your own thing, and to do that, you needed to make the space your own.
Yeah, we
which I
did.
love.
Yeah, which is part, and some of it is low ceilings that we have here and that kind of thing. So we had to make a stage that's not really a stage; it's this high off the ground. You know what I mean? But things like that, we wanted to put it in the middle of the room so that people are really nice and close with the band. When you I don't know if you guys seen shows at the Dom before, probably.
The Dominion?
Yeah. So even going there to see a show is very it really feels close. You know what I mean? The band is right in front of you. You get this really kind of you feel connected to to what's going on in front of you.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do that kind of thing, and we were again really lucky because I just put out a call to people saying hey, we're building this thing. We have 3 months to do it before we start getting charged rent. So can you help? And people came in droves. People that were I'm a carpenter. I know how to do this thing. Somebody came and helped us build the bar. Electricians came. Just everybody all over said, oh, we've heard about you guys. We know what you're up to, and we want to help. Just for free. People brought materials to build with. People everything. It was incredible. I couldn't believe it.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great story.
I didn't know that, and I appreciate you telling us. So it's the coolest part about the place is it is Ottawa, right?
Yeah.
They made it. There's no House of Targ anywhere else. You don't hear about bars like this that have games rooms and have live shows, and also maybe in Europe somewhere I would imagine maybe, but even then it's just so unique. And the fact that you said that it's a communal build is amazing too.
It is, yeah.
Right?
And it's part of that too is there is a responsibility that between the four of us that own this place we take very seriously, which is we have a responsibility to the community for what we have to give back constantly, on a daily level, be it stuff to kids with the games and to parents who have supported us in the past, who you know what I mean, people who came 10 years ago and helped us, and now they've got 3 kids and they come here with their kids or whatever. Even the types of shows that we do, for instance, we do some shows that we know we're trying to pay the rent with, and then we have many other shows that we curate that are just we're doing this show because this show needs to be done because it's cool as fuck, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. So it's there's a give and take there that we take pretty seriously, just because this was given to us partially by the community, so we have to give back to a lot.
Yeah, but it's nice that you did stay that way, because sometimes you could be caught up in the fact, hey, I own a bar now, and forget about all of those people that made it happen. Really. Yeah. And yeah, no, it's phenomenal. Love it.
Yeah, it's and the bands that we've talked to that have played here loved it here. So it's it's got a good name, and and when you get somebody as famous as Who talking about them.
Yeah, exactly. When we were at Pearl Jam, we talked about it before, but Pearl Jam was a great show, of course. And Eddie Vedder's so charismatic, but he talked about the House of Targ. Because when they first played here, in 1990 or whatever, I think they played at Robert Gertain Hall.
Okay, yeah.
And then he was on the stage, and he's we haven't played House of Targ yet.
Yeah.
People just went bananas because everybody knows your bar and your bar, your venue. And so did you heard about that? You heard that Eddie Vedder showed you?
Yeah, it was super cool, and they're welcome to come and play here. As I told you guys, anytime they want. We've got a back line where they don't need to bring anything; they could just show up and
there you go
and go for it. Yeah.
Could you imagine? That would be so sick.
We've actually had some really cool some kind of run-ins. I'm not super into the whole famous people and all that kind of thing. I obviously like Pearl Jam. I think they're a wonderful, really great band. But people like Weird Al, you know what I mean, has shouted us out, and people like one of the guys from the Ramones, the guy from the Bare Naked Ladies, what's his name? In our first year, he came to visit 3 times. And
Stephen Page, guy with the glasses.
Yeah, the guitarist,
there's
the main guy.
Stephen Page was the singer.
Yeah, he's not with them.
And it's Ed. Ed was Ed.
Yes.
Okay.
And guys like that would they come out, and a lot of them are just super super into pinball, right? So like Ed, for instance, he would be here till 4 a.m. He doesn't drink. He would just come and hang out and take pictures with people and play pinball with people.
Nice.
I got a call about just before the pandemic that Slash wanted to come and hang out here. from Guns N' Roses. Yeah, and I was
Heard
just
of them,
you heard of them?
Yeah,
'Cause they were playing,
maybe a little.
They were playing that big show at TD Place, and
You were there also,
Yeah.
yeah, and they called me a couple days before. His security came down and checked it out just before, but in the end, because I guess he's a huge pinball fanatic as well. But I guess in the end, he changed his mind and he didn't show up, which was a super bummer because I was sitting here waiting, going oh my god, I'm gonna meet Slash. And it would just been 3 of us. He didn't want anybody around. He's like, yeah, I just want to come and play some pinball. Is that cool? And I was like, yeah, of course.
yeah.
I think it was a Monday night.
I don't know. I'll have to talk to my owners, and
So it's fun.
we'll have to have a discussion about this first.
Which is cool because some people it's music too, but it's games. People we're all kids at heart, I think.
Yeah.
And it's cool to see guys like that who are just I want to just play games and relax.
We all played pinball. That's the thing. We're all in our very formidable years. But I remember going to King Arthur's Court, which was on Maribel, way down at this the hood now. But you go there and you can play pinball. You can play actual arcade games. I think that it's something that was kids now and I love that there's kids here now, but kids they have instant access to games, but the feeling, the sounds, the huge screen, I absolutely love pinball. I think it's the best. So it makes sense, and it's kind of I think rock and roll and pinballs go together. I don't know what it is.
Oh, maybe we should talk to the Who or Elton John about
I
that.
get that.
What do you think?
Pinball wizard, but you know what I mean? I think that there's sort of it's hanging out at a bar or hanging out at a place and playing music, and then but you're using your hands, so it's I feel it's a good musicians always have good hands and
hand-eye coordination.
To coordinate with their right.
Yeah, totally.
I might be going on.
And I think you're right, and another big part of it that I noticed at the old place, and that's why I was you know what, there's a certain magic in if you have 1 or 2 games, for instance, in your basement or something, it's kind of cool, and it's people look at it. But if you have 20 of them in a row, it looks like Las Vegas, you know what I mean? And it feels what the hell is going on here? It feels powerful in some weird way.
Yeah.
And it creates kind of a social, a nook where people feel safe. For instance, if somebody's playing pinball and you want to go up to them and say, oh, nice game, or if you want to say, hey, do you want to play a game together? It's a good way to meet somebody, to talk to somebody in a very kind of intrusive way, you know what I mean? Because you're just playing a game with somebody. When we were kids, I remember you go to somebody I'm going to go play with my friend, right? Mm-hmm. And in a band you go and we're going to go play. It's always playing, and then here it's the same thing. It's just that there's some beers involved. So.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. I just remember the days. There used to be one over in Alta Vista too, an arcade over there that we used to go to all the time.
Yeah.
Over in that little mall.
I used to go to the what was it called, the Games Room on Bank Street, which would have been in the 80s or kind of early 90s, maybe before it closed. But and that was the thing. You could go to an arcade, and they only had games and snacks. There was never really food or you know.
The quarters, always walking around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had that guy for the first little while.
I'm
too.
sure you did.
Yeah. One of them
Too much.
little
He became too expensive. Cut that part of the budget. No, but it's so cool. It's it sort of brings us back, you know.
Yeah, just give us. Sorry. Oh yeah, go for it. That's
Do what you got to do. We'll just talk over there.
Well, so this is a thing. We're doing a kind of a venue interview. So
yeah, and the venue is loud, so it's all good.
We're in an open bar, so what are you going to do?
It's all good.
Lock the door.
And people need their shirts.
Yeah, we're going to get some too. If you don't have a House of Targ shirt, you have to get yourself a House of Targ shirt.
Yeah.
The design, it's very Targ, very a video game, right?
It was actually designed by a friend of ours called Kenneth. He DJs here on Sunday nights, still 9 years later. I asked him to do all the logos for this place when we were first starting it, and he took all the artwork from a couple of my really old pinball machines, which sadly I don't have anymore, and from the Targ original game, and he kind of put it all together and came up with the logos. And
Nice.
Yeah, he's a very talented individual for sure.
That's always cool to see that, right?
Community member.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Much as you can.
Everybody kind of does that.
You're killing us, bro.
Killing us.
Just kidding. So
Great. Now he's going to be afraid to stick his head in again.
Yeah, he should
better
be.
be. Just kidding. So, if you were to see this, your venue in the next, say, in 5 or 10 years, would you envision anything different? Would you anything that you want to add to the place? Is there something that you would be interested in?
I mean, we like it here. We're in a basement, which is it kind of adds to the atmosphere of the place in a strange way.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was living in a dream world, I would like to own a building where we're doing this kind of thing and be on the first floor, so we don't have to huck machines down the stairs, which is a total nightmare because they weigh a lot.
Yes.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this is the kind of we put so much work into this place over the last 10 years that I think we'll probably keep it going as long as we possibly can. Like, we made it through the pandemic. We've made it through floods. We haven't done locusts yet. So so
hopefully that's not coming.
Yeah.
But that's going to be cool.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think we're like, our motto here also is, like, our first shirts said "Never give up," and that's been our motto from the beginning. And it's probably what it's made us kind of survive, because there's so many times when we should have given up, and I don't think we ever will.
Very good. It's good to hear. For all you folks that need to come down here, try the pierogies and play some pinball. Where else can you do that?
Or talk to Yogi, because he seems like an approachable guy.
Yeah.
Pretty approachable.
You can do that too. Yeah. Come see a show, play some pinball. Pierogies.
Yeah, the best. Do you serve them with sour cream?
Yes, we do. Yes, dill-infused sour cream, in fact.
Ooh.
Yeah, we have all kinds of different pierogies. We have jalapeno spicy ones, we have mushroom ones, we have a dessert one. Actually, we have 2 different dessert ones now as well. So yeah, we try to keep it a little bit fresh and change it up. And have some fun with it, for sure.
Dessert pierogies.
Yeah.
I am intrigued.
It's basically like a beaver tail, one of them.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like apple and cinnamon sugar.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. And a cheesecake one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's.
Oh,
funny.
no.
Well, you go outside, have a puff, come back, have the friggin' cheesecake one, man.
Yeah.
We have. Can I do a show plug? Is that
Absolutely.
We have this band called the 5678s that are coming. I think it's August 30th that they're going to be here, which is a Wednesday night. But they are the band from, I don't know if you guys have seen Kill Bill.
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
really?
During the big kind of fight scene.
Yeah.
This woman,
Like they're
these
like a
these
Japanese
women,
band.
and they're playing while everybody's kind of getting slaughtered, and so that's pretty rad. It's going to be happening in like a month.
That's so cool.
I'm coming.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty amazing.
On a Wednesday night.
Yeah, we usually have a show like that, like every 2 months, like something kind of big and weird that we just kind of either drop a bit of money on, or you know what I mean, and just kind of go, hey, let's do this show that probably shouldn't fit in.
That's going to be so sick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah. No. You sell tickets, or
the tickets are online right now for that.
Grab some.
That's a definite must do.
Yeah, and we just had the Gruesomes. I don't know if you guys know those guys. So that was first time in Ottawa or in Canada actually in like 11 years, I think, that they've played.
Really?
Yeah, and the amazing thing there is they played they agreed to play. Like, we've been bugging them for 5 years or forever, because they're going on a European tour, and they needed to put together some money to buy their plane tickets and everything. You know what I mean? So it was incredible that even at being the Gruesomes, they still need to play a gig to play the next gig, kind of thing.
Crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
It's funny. I think people don't realize, with obviously the streaming services they don't pay them anything, and then I think people have this premonition that becoming a musician and then becoming a big star and getting paid for it is easier than it is, because it's one of the hardest things in the world to get into, have a hit record that you created, as opposed to maybe some producer or somebody put you together or whatever it is. Lady Gaga wasn't Lady Gaga when she got in. All her music was written for her, but she was a big star already, and then it just sort of spinball. Anyways, it's pinball from that. But
Pinball.
What is interesting that you say that, because it is almost like show to show kind of deal. It's super hard. It's amazing that you did that for them, and then they put on a wicked show, and it kind of adds to your resume here too, right? And
yeah, for sure. And do you guys know the band Pup? Have you heard of those guys?
Pup?
Yeah, from Toronto.
No, I haven't.
So they're playing Blues Fest here in what is it, 2 weeks or
a week?
A week.
Yeah, a week starts on the 6th.
So, and they played last year, and they generally play pretty huge festivals and that kind of thing. But the bassist is my cousin, and when they would come and play in town before anybody knew who they were, they would play at the old Meat Locker as well, you know what I mean? And when I was touring, I would stay at his house in Toronto with his family. So a lot of it is just that kind of thing. Like, you're always bumping shows forward and helping each other out. So they come here sometimes to do a secret show if they're doing like a big show somewhere around, you know what I mean? And they can just... Well, I can't say for...
No, it's a secret show. Secret show.
It's for the big fans. It's for the underground.
You never know what can happen. But,
it could happen.
But yeah.
It's funny you say that, though, because I was at the show last night, and one of the guys from the first band, Beyond Driven, I guess he had car problems coming into the parking lot at the Brass Monkey. And so they're pushing the car into a parking lot, as parking spot, and the other band, Civilian's like... He looks at them and they're looking at him and he's like, yeah, I just need to play this gig to get gas money. So it's kind of, no, it wasn't a gas issue, it's an electrical issue with the car, but that's the kind of the joke they made about it.
Yeah,
so it kind of plays forward to the whole.
That's true. I mean, you play gigs and then you buy shirts, right?
Yeah.
And then you're out of money again, so then you have to sell the shirts and play more gigs to buy more shirts. And it's the same thing with the venue, by the way. Like, we have to put on a show that will pay for the next day partially, you know what I mean? And if we have, like, for instance, 2 weeks of bad shows, then you're done. You know what I mean? Like, you got to keep, not only that, just doing shows, but you have to do good shows too. So being in a band is fun. I kind of miss it, but I just do it for fun now on the side. But
do you have a band still?
Yeah, I play in like a ZZ Top cover band right now.
Or you're a guitarist?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a drummer. I play everything, but mostly a guitarist. Yeah.
So you play the Billy Gibbons guitar?
Well, not. I have ZZ Top's amp, which is really interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually bought it from on eBay from them. I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that.
Very cool.
So yeah, I do have like his a thing that they took on tour with them, which is pretty rad. But yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to be the drummer. You have to be Frank Beard, the one guy who doesn't have a beard in ZZ Top.
It is a weird thing, eh?
Yeah.
But I kind of, like, obviously, Billy's pretty talented. We were going to see ZZ Top, and then the pandemic hit, and then they didn't come.
Yeah.
Right?
And then he passed
away. And then
away.
Dusty died. Yeah.
Bummer. I've never seen them live. So
no, me neither.
Yeah, super bummed.
I love them too.
Yeah, it was kind of that was a real bummer. My brother was really not very happy.
Yeah, but he wasn't as excited for them. He was excited for
Cheap Trick.
Yeah. I think if you put on a hat though, you could be in a.
Well,
in a
it's a funny
act.
thing you say that because my brothers, we took a picture a couple years back, and my brother's beard was longer than mine, and that's all the comments we got, like ZZ Top, and my other brother doesn't have a beard. So yeah, we could be a ZZ Top tribute band. The only thing we need to learn is how to play instruments.
That's what I was going to say. That's only guys can play.
That's the only drawback, and to sing, and there's only a couple.
Well, we have a Guitar Hero machine here if you want.
Nice, I can practice.
Yeah.
Bro, why don't you come by?
Yeah.
What's your most popular game?
Wow. I don't know. We have a bubble hockey table.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's
like
probably
the one with the one guy with the long ass stick.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the sticks. And, two people stand on each side. And that thing takes a real beating. We have a game called Ice Cold Beer, which a lot of people like. It's like a balancing game where you kind of raise a ball through kind of a maze of holes.
Okay.
I don't know. And then there's a real pinball community in Ottawa too. I don't know if you guys know about that, but we have a tournament every month that's kind of open to everybody, and then we have also just a Pinball Women of Ottawa tournament, which is just women or anybody who, and those women, they can play some pinball.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are actually beating everybody now in Ottawa that I know that's a killer pinball player. So the pinball games are pretty probably the big draw, I think.
Yeah, I would say it makes sense to me.
I think you should challenge some of the women to pinball.
I used to be really good at pinball.
That's why I'm saying you should challenge
They're
them.
really, really good. I've been playing
a lot in practice.
Yeah.
I've been playing pinball for a long time, and they destroy me.
Yeah.
I don't even go past the second round when I'm playing against them.
Stick to the bubble hockey because then I can just mop the floor with everybody.
Yeah.
So just 9-year-olds.
Incredible skills.
Yeah.
Just little mini moves.
Really,
without tilting the machine. I used to tilt the machine a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's because you had anger issues. So
Yeah, I do. So what?
Don't anymore, but you did then.
I haven't played pinball in
Did you guys grow up
30
together?
years.
No.
No, we never grew up.
We do have a good rapport like that. So our deal is we we met playing in this yearly golf tournament. I'm a really good golfer, and he's not.
Okay.
So,
True story.
but it didn't matter. We had a connection right away. We both love music. We basically worked at the same bar, which was the Riverside Pub, but we didn't work at the same time. And we just kind of met. And I ended up meeting one of his best friends. Anyways, and then during the pandemic, we met at Saint Laurent.
Yes.
And he was saying that, I'm doing a podcast, and I said we should do a podcast. And then the rest is history, because he was like, well, I found a venue. We were doing it at Staples up at the end of Bank, and then and then we were like, well, let's get our own stuff so we can, at least have this ability, and also to kind of not have to be stuck going to Staples to do it. So
Yeah. Well, that's fun that you guys are doing it.
Yeah, and then it was kind of like it morphed into doing coming here to do this one, and then I kind of wanted to go to the Brass Monkey and set up there and talk to the bands between sets, and do it that way. And so we're thinking about that, and it's kind of come up.
Morphed to like the same as our vision was simply we were going to talk about music, and then we got approached by Mark Leo of Mecca of Stank. I mean, the story's been out there, but I think they've played here, haven't they?
I'm not sure if they played here. Mecca of Stank.
I think so, no.
Can't see half.
They're a cool band. I think they'd be trippy in here, like a kind of a. You should listen to some of their
Yeah, I've
stuff.
heard the name.
Yeah.
They're fun. They're fun.
cool.
They're a fun band to listen to, and they're nice guys.
Yeah. And anyway, so then it just sort of morphed into interviewing, my friend Amanda Rayom, and then here we are, man. It's just sort of cool how it morphed into what it is, because we just want to support the community, and I love that your message is the same thing with this, because you got to give back, and then hopefully you can get something in return. For us, it's a labor of love. We don't make any money doing it. It's just more we love talking to people about. I think I love history as well as I love talking about music and talking about like seeing you light up when you talk about your venue. That's what I get from this.
That's what's fun. That's what's fun for us.
I think a lot of people here that work here, you would get the same thing. Like our head sound tech is Slow Tom. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I've heard of him through this.
Yeah. So I mean, he's been a huge part of the Ottawa community or the music community for 30, 40 years. He was one of the main guys in Furnace Face. I don't know if you heard of that band. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? Like when people show up here, a lot of younger bands, and they like your sound tech is the guy from Furnace Face. You know what I mean? And Tom is same thing. Like when when the band comes in, it's their first time playing here, or he makes them feel so comfortable. He makes them feel so excited to be here. You know what I mean? Just puts everybody at ease, and it's clear that he really loves what he's doing. You know what I mean? And that kind of thing is priceless.
It's infectious,
yeah.
right? And you're loving, and then your staff, it just makes the whole experience so much better, because everybody feels like they're actually a part of it, as opposed to you just telling people what to do.
Yeah.
It's now a communal feel, right?
For sure.
And I think that's
the
way of getting from you is that's what you wanted.
It's unique, right? It's that you can't fake that. You can't fake being interested in somebody or being interested in their band. So if you're excited about this place, then that's going to kind of trickle down into the bands that come here, and they're going to be excited to play, which kind of brings up their levels and stuff. And then they're excited to talk to their friends about this place, and then it's it's got a ripple effect.
Yeah.
And it's the best way to go.
It's so sick. And then you kind of like you said, it just sort of it's great. It's really great. It really is.
Yeah, it's the same feeling like when we talk to the bands that we talk to, and just the way that we ask them questions, and they get a big smile on their face, and all of a sudden they're talking for 10 minutes, and it's great.
Yeah. Okay, so we ask the same question to everybody. It's a sort of a thing that we have going, an ongoing rivalry. Is it 80s or 90s music for you?
I'd go with wow. That's hard to decide. What do I like?
What do you prefer? What do you turn on or and maybe you can explain too if you don't mind. Why?
I think I'd have to go with the 80s. I like the sounds of the 80s, the stupid drum sounds and the
drum kits.
And the keyboards and the I like the sound. I like the aesthetic, the way people are dressed. I like the games. This place is basically a retro 80s heaven. So I love that. I love the movies. Whereas 90s, I like a lot of that music for sure. But it's there wasn't really a style in the 90s, apart from, I guess, maybe grunge or a little bit later and that kind of thing that I really hooked into. So yeah, but if I had to make a small, what is it called, a change to the question, I would say my biggest, most favorite thing is the 70s. Because I love the cars, the music, like everything else. Like in the 80s, the cars were shit.
Yeah.
So
The cars in the 70s had style.
yeah.
See, I'm a 60s car guy, but
Or 60s, sure. Anything 70s or
You guys should go hang out in Cuba then, the two of you, the 50s and 60s cars down there.
yeah.
no, for me, it's muscle cars. I'm sure it's the same for you, and it's like,
Yeah.
I'm a 90s guy. I always say 90s. He's 80s. That's why we ask the questions, because he has an 80s show actually on Feel It Radio UK that he does, and it's sort of, I listen to it every Saturday morning because I have young twins that are up at that at all really early.
Yeah.
And it's cool because you hear different reasons why you like it and why the 90s didn't, like, obviously you said you like some of the 90s music. And if Pearl Jam was playing here, they're a 90s band, just so we're all aware.
Yeah. I like a lot of it, like the helmets and the heavier stuff in the 90s.
Cool.
Yeah, totally.
So who's the 80s band that really kind of got you going?
Madonna. I don't know. No,
That was funny.
like I like all of it. I've been like
Madonna.
kind of the older kind of hip hop stuff in the 80s too. You know what I mean?
Like Beasties and stuff?
Yeah, like
Run DMC.
exactly. Yeah, a lot
I
of
know a
that
lot
stuff.
of hip hop.
Or
Yeah.
even Grandmaster Flash.
Well, yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s, right?
He was like 80. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of
Well,
fed
the
into
the
the
message came out, I think, actually in 82.
81 or 82, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's the hip hop. I get it, I do. But I'm a 90s hip hop guy because I just felt like, and I'm also was born in 1980, so that kind of, I listened to all the 80s music because of my siblings. But then as I kind of grew into the 90s, that was just more my genre.
And fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the hip hop, and the hip hop changed my whole life because I went from, this kid to a man. I always say that. And then I also love grunge, right? Kurt Cobain was the shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, but I love 80s too. I do. I talk about it all the time. Like,
Yeah.
there's some fun 80s songs that I really enjoy.
Well,
Not Madonna as much.
We do a 90s night that is really popular. We rip off the, remember the old Much Music, what was it called?
Electric
Big Shiny-
Circus?
Big Shiny
Oh,
Tunes.
Big Shiny Tunes.
Big Shiny Tunes,
So
yeah.
I don't know
we-
why I said Electric Circus.
So we do the thing where we have a band that plays, or either a couple of bands that would have been on those Big Shiny Tunes compilations,
Nice.
or a band that just will play a whole bunch of 90s stuff that is usually on there. And then we have like a VJ or a fake VJ. We call him Jeff the Temp.
Nice.
Kind of like Rick the Temp. But,
Yeah.
So we kind of fake the whole thing, and then he does, prizes with people and plays videos from the 90s in between sets,
Cool.
and then afterwards late at night. Yeah, and those nights are super fun. Like every once in a while you hear a song that you're just like, oh my god, like I can't believe, like I remember all the words to this ridiculous song, you know what I mean? Like a silly Chumbawamba thing or something
I
like
was
that.
just gonna say, I get knocked down.
Yeah.
But I get up again.
Yeah, but yeah, it's fun.
Well, listen, there's a bunch of those in the 80s too, so we're not going to just say the
we're not
90s.
gonna say, okay, the 80s are the one. Actually, they say the 70s are the one hit wonder time, right?
I don't know. I think
the 80s are a lot.
give me a few minutes. I could probably come up with 10 from each decade.
Yeah. Well,
So, I mean-
that's what you bring to the podcast. You're,
The
you have,
cheese.
this crazy memory for different songs.
Yeah, I
and
can't remember
artists.
what I did this morning.
You would say something obscure from the 80s, and he would probably know the name of the album and stuff. Like, you can test it if you want.
Let's not get too crazy about it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an expert on the 80s. I'm just a fan.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in the 80s, so
sure.
that was my pivotal years were the 80s. So that's the stuff I listened to when I wasn't listening to the old country my dad used to listen to. So
Yeah.
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 My mom always listened to like the 70s Rimmers, and like Mac was always on CCR, even like Motown stuff. Like, so I always loved that stuff. I love that stuff now. I remember listening to it, going like, "Can we not listen to this again? Like, it's on again on every Sunday." Yeah. So, so the next like the 5, 6, 7, 8s are coming, which is amazing. And if so you just do something different almost every night, right? Are you open 7 days a week?
No, we're usually closed Mondays and
Mondays,
Tuesdays.
yeah.
Yeah, but we do also a lot of private events, just because it's an arcade. So we do a lot of corporate things. Like when we're closed, then we'll do, a party for Shopify or whatever, somebody like that,
Yeah.
for companies. They bring all their staff through, staff parties, things like that. So we do a lot of that, birthday parties. We've done weddings, like all kinds of stuff. But generally, 4 days a week, and each one of those days is usually something very, very different. So yeah,
Nice.
yeah, we try to keep it pretty. What's the word?
Diverse.
Diverse. Yes, exactly.
Good word.
That's a great word.
That's a good $5 word.
Yeah.
Well, and we're in a neighborhood that it's a diverse neighborhood, so you have to roll with it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, yeah, and thank you for having us. Like, it's so
That's my pleasure.
So nice to meet you, and obviously,
Yeah, it's nice to meet you guys too.
Appreciate having you show us the office space. We'll go check out a few things and grab some shirts and stuff.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, no, I look forward to seeing how it progresses, and we're obviously going to come by, and I'm buying 5, 6, 7, 8 tickets like today.
It's going to be worth checking out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure.
That was, yeah.
Yogi. House of
Yogi.
Targ.
House of Targ.
Check it out, guys. You should definitely come down here if you haven't been here to see a show. But if you want to bring the kids, that's an option. It's a really great Ottawa venue. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.